Every year around September, the internet starts recommending the same fall locations: Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. And don't get me wrong, they are beautiful. But after visiting all 50 states, I think one of the most overlooked fall road trip regions in the United States is the Midwest. Because while everyone else is fighting for hotel rooms and scenic overlooks in New England, there are incredible road trip routes across the Midwest that offer colorful forests, dramatic lake shores, waterfalls, charming small towns, and often fewer crowds. Hi, I'm Teresa from an Acre in the city. This channel is all about helping people travel smarter, stress less, and actually take the trips they've been dreaming about. And today I'm sharing 5 of my favorite Midwest fall road trips, from easy weekend getaways to bucket list worthy adventures. If you're trying to decide where to go this fall, one of these might just end up at the top of your list. Number 5. Let's start with a destination that might surprise people: Indiana Dunes National Park. Most people hear that name and picture sand. And yes, there are plenty of dunes, but what makes this area really interesting is how much variety is packed into a relatively small space. One of my favorite stops is a collection of Century of Progress homes. They were from the 1933 Chicago World Fair. They're such an unexpected piece of history, right along Lake Michigan. I also love places like Cowles Bog and the Shellberg Farm area. Together, they create a mix of history, nature, and scenery that feels much more diverse than what most people expect. And in the fall, the changing leaves add another layer of beauty to the landscape. Number 4. If your ideal fall trip includes slowing down, Door County is hard to beat. This peninsula extends into Lake Michigan and is filled with charming waterfront towns, scenic parks, and beautiful shoreline views. One of my favorite stops is the Canna Island Lighthouse. There's just something about it that feels especially fitting in the fall. I also really enjoy spending time around Bailey's Harbor. Between the farmers market, the waterfront, and the nearby nature preserve, it's the kind of place that encourages you to slow down and enjoy the season. Door County isn't about checking off attractions on your list. It's about enjoying the atmosphere, and that's exactly why it works so well on a fall road trip. Before we jump into number 3, if you're trying to turn one of these ideas into an actual trip, I have a free guide called 5 Days to a Perfect Outdoor Adventure. It walks you through 5 simple steps for planning a trip without the overwhelm. I'll link it below. Number 3, if you've never visited Sleeping Bear Dunes in the fall, you're in for a treat. You're missing one of the best combinations of shoreline scenery and autumn color in the Midwest. The star of the show is the Pure Stocking Scenic Drive. There are very few drives where you can experience scenic overlooks, forest color, and Lake Michigan views all on one route. Pyramid Point is another favorite. The overlook is stunning year-round. The fall adds an entirely different layer to the experience. One of the things I love most about Sleeping Bear Dunes is that it's difficult to make a bad decision here. Whether you're hiking, driving, exploring small towns, or simply enjoying the views, the area consistently delivers. Next up, number 2. This is one of those road trip routes that makes people question their assumptions about the Midwest. We're headed to the North Shore of Minnesota. Lake Superior feels enormous. It has a rocky shoreline, cliffs, forests, and so many waterfalls. It creates a landscape that feels more like the coast of another country than something tucked in to northern Minnesota. One of my favorite stops is Gooseberry Falls. It's beautiful, accessible, and one of those places that tends to impress first-time visitors immediately. You can also add places like Split Rock Lighthouse, Grand Marais, and Tateguchi State Park. And during the fall, the contrast between the colorful trees and the deep blue water is incredible. For people that want scenery around every bend, this route is hard to beat. And number 1, we have Michigan's Upper Peninsula. If I could only recommend one Midwest road trip for the fall, this would be it. The Upper Peninsula is one of my favorite spots, no matter what time of the year. But fall is when it really shines. Places like Tequamanon Falls becomes even more impressive when they're surrounded by peak fall color. The waterfalls are spectacular. The drives, they're beautiful. And because the region is so large, you can spend days exploring without feeling rushed. Add in places like Pictured Rocks, Bond Falls, and countless smaller stops along your route, and you'll have a road trip that feels endlessly rewarding. What may surprise you the most is the drive itself becomes part of your experience. The forests, the lakeshore, the small towns, the quiet stretches of road, they all contribute to what makes the Upper Peninsula feel so special. And that's why it takes my number 1 spot. If you've been assuming that New England is the only place worth considering for a fall road trip, I hope this video gave you a few new ideas, because some of the best fall scenery in America is hiding in plain sight across the Midwest. The key isn't trying to visit all 5 of these locations. Pick one, build a realistic trip around it, and give yourself time to actually enjoy it, because the goal isn't to check all the places off the list. It's to create memories that you'll be talking about years from now. And if you're wondering how to choose the right road trip based on the time of year you're traveling, watch this next video on the best road trips for every season. Until next time, happy travels!